Springfield Area Leadoff Club, as always, sponsored by Play Against Sports, presented by Rawlings Easton. And special thanks to the Pizza Ranch here for helping take care of the coaches' meals. And I'm glad to see everybody out again. And much of it we have done for going back to September 12th, I think, of last year. We've always kind of started off kind of an update on our good friend Art Haynes, and things are going slow. But they're not going backwards yet. But Coach Rowe, what's the latest?
Well, the note we had last week that they were going to do the procedure, and they went in to do it to start the process of getting the trach back to where it ought to be and put a stent in. Well, I guess all good plans go astray, like we all make mistakes on a variety of things. I was never a builder, and it was very obvious. I didn't know what I was doing, but the tubing that they got was too big to put in, or else the stent wouldn't fit in, so they had to, and you think, well, sure, they've got another size there, but not that way. It's going to blow up the whole deal. And as of Friday, to my knowledge, it hasn't been done yet. According to he is continuing to get more movement here with one or two of the arms to get things, or at least he put, Chris said he saw him brush something away from his face. With, I believe that was with the right one, because the left one, to me, every picture I see, it's still this way. But his attitude is remarkable, 100% better than mine would be if I was in the situation, especially if one of 6 months. It's been there, but we'll keep you close on what's happening. But after your church yesterday, the guy came up, a restaurant we were in, and said, "Hey, how's Art?" I gave him a minute deal, and he said, "Hey, is there a fundraiser?" I'm sorry, I was able to pass that on. So should anybody ask you, that's still active. I still think we're going to do something bigger and better on down the road. Try to involve a lot of area schools in contact is what they can do. But yes, GoFundMe is still the best way to do it. Doing great, and I would not be surprised to see him back at a rehab center in this area within 2 weeks. I've not been told to me, but the respiratory is the part that I'm waiting on it there. But if they get the tracheal fixed, I think we'll be back.
Very good. Well, continued thoughts and prayers for Art. Sure to miss him. With that, we'll turn it over to my good friend Don West, and we'll go from there.
All right, Guy. Well, let's start with the Central Bulldogs. Coach Jared White and his team takes on Kickapoo tomorrow.
Let's stand.
If you like.
Oh, so we get better picture. Okay. I guess I'll stand. I don't know what to do with my hands. Guys, thanks for having us. Play Against Sports. Thanks for the pizza. Coach Snodgrass, thanks for setting it up. Send our best to Mr. Haynes. Hope he gets well soon. So far, we are young, 2023 Bulldog team. What we lack in the experience, we make up for in camaraderie and excitement and learning. We're currently looking for that first win. It's evaded us this first couple weeks of the season. We played Forsyth, first game out, and it threw Tristan Hunter. He was, I don't know, upper 80s. It might as well have been 100 for us. He punched us out, I don't know, a couple dozen times. It was a long night. Kids battled their butts off. We found a way to get on base, found a way to score runs, took them into extra innings, ended up losing 6-5. Some bad coaching. I sent a guy coming around third, should have let the next kid hit. And we ended up losing it in extras. 2 nights later, we came out and played Iberia. It's pretty cold in Iberia. So we had to bundle up for that one. They jumped on us early. We came back, tied it up, took a lead, going through the middle innings. Bottom of the 6th, we tied up 8-8. Bottom of the 5th, we tied up 8-8. Top of the 6th, we walked or hit the first 7 batters in an 11-run 6th inning. So it was 19-8. Kids came off the field. Didn't give my best speech, and we ended up getting run ruled that game. But we're very competitive throughout the game. The next week out, we played Bolivar. Garrett Cook is a pretty good left-handed arm, younger kid, big kid. Played all right, tied it up again, going into the 5th, and then gave up a 9 spot in the 6th. Ended up losing that game, and then I played Lebanon, and I think I played Lebanon as a coach at Central 5 or 6 times, and they beat us by 15 every single time. By the 3rd or 4th inning, we're on the bus. This time was not that case. We jumped up 3-0 early, had a good first inning, and just couldn't add to it. Ended up getting beat bottom of the 7th. We led every pitch except for the very last one of the game. Got beat 4-3. So we're getting better, no doubt about it. We are better position by position than we've been in the past. We're very young. At any given night, we're starting 8 sophomores and a junior. Our team captain is Nathan Elsenrod. He's a high achiever, I think 34 ACT. He's 5'9", 128 pounds, and an absolute bulldog, a leader. All the kids do what he tells them to do. He walks softly and is our leadoff batter. He pitched against Lebanon, and I'm telling you, he didn't break 60 miles an hour and just kept Lebanon in knots, blowing guys away with 62 after they saw 52 for an inning or so. So we have to do things a little unconventional, and we got to find ways to be competitive, but we're having a blast, and we're getting a lot better at it. So I think some of these guys you'll hear about moving forward. Aiden Wallace is a sophomore, left-handed pitcher, very crafty. He's going to be, if he gets to 200 pounds, he's probably 150 pounds right now, but he's going to be 6'3" or so. If he gets to 200 pounds right now, he's upper 70s with 3 good pitches. Rowan Hart is the central quarterback on our third baseman. His brother is currently on the football roster at Missouri State, Amias Hart, and he's a big, strong, physical kid. I think he's going to be a much better baseball player than Amias was, and he's right now can touch 80 or so. And then after that, we've got to kind of get creative and work on our knuckle curves and our knuckle slurves and all kind of good stuff. So we're really practicing hard. We're getting a lot of fundamentals and repetitions in, and only one direction to go. All right. Anything else, guys? Thank you.
New on the bench at Parkview is Ryan High Street, and the Vikings have 3 wins on the season so far.
Thanks, you guys. Last year, I was lucky enough to coach with Coach Nashby over at Drury before coming out from California, where I spent all my time, and we didn't do anything like this in California, which is pretty cool. Pretty cool that you can do something like this and kind of get to know some people, especially in my my position where I'm new to the area. But thank you for doing this. Yeah, we're 3-7. We take on Fairgrove today, so hopefully they take it easy on us. And then we had 5 games last week. We got 4 games this week, and we're pretty young, especially young on the bump. But we got 2 seniors that are throwing the ball pretty well, and Del Norcutt and Ethan Walker. Coming off of our wings, we somehow got Fairgrove earlier in the year, and then I can't think of the other one was against, but we beat Aurora on Friday in the red and blue. We kind of played our best baseball this past week until Saturday evening, where we kind of, from what I hear, played a lot like what we played last year. We had 9 errors on defense and just kind of didn't come out and compete, and that's one thing that we've been trying to do in various different ways of just making our kids better competitors, because we have a tendency to just give in and go with what everybody kind of says is the Parkview way. It's kind of been in the past of giving in, being satisfied with mediocrity, but we're trying to change that culture and get guys going in the right direction. And we played Camdenton on Thursday and won 1 game into the 5th, and they scored a couple in the bottom of 6th, and then we had the base loaded in the bottom of 7th and no outs, and we had 3 straight strikeouts to end the game, and that's kind of been our big Achilles heel. We strike out way too much. But yeah, we've been taking care of the ball. Guys are a lot more excited. We've been in the weight room since August, so the one kind of nice thing that I hear after our games are like, hey, coach, you guys are playing a different kind of game than what you guys have done in the past. Last year's Parkview team would have been 3 innings, and you guys are playing the whole game and competing the whole time, and you're going to come up and bite somebody. So hopefully soon we come up and bite a few, but those kind of go every game when you're not winning, and you hear that from umpires, it's pretty nice, but at the same time it gets kind of old and you start winning some ball games here. But yeah, we're young. We really got 2 seniors that play. I think we started 3 sophomores and the rest juniors. We've had a right fielder who's a freshman get a couple starts. He was last time he had played baseball was in 3rd grade, so he's coming in he just kind of football kid and basketball kid, didn't want to play, and then we just kind of kept kind of bugging him. But he's an athlete and a competitor, and shoot, I think 14th year he started in right field, so it's good. He competes a lot more than some of the other guys. So there's something to say about him competing. So he's kind of bought in. A few other guys bought in. So just excited to keep kind of going and try to turn this thing around. Thank you.
On the other side of today's game is Coach William Reed at Fair Grove, take on Parkview.
I don't know if sitting here was the best choice, but anyway, thank you guys for letting me be here. Obviously, my first time. Coach Snodgrass, thank you for setting this up. I get the privilege of working with Zach, and we're both new to Fair Grove. He's done a tremendous job with our pitching staff. We've got a lot of youth. I was blessed to spend 5 years at Kickapoo under Coach Hauser. I'm sure most of you guys know him, and I learned a ton about dealing with booster clubs, parents, summer ball. And one of the things that unfortunately I took from him is having a tough schedule. And so we jumped in. We were probably one of the only teams in the state to play 3 games the opening weekend. We went down to Arkansas, had a fortunate draw, VP Ridge, played Warsaw, Missouri, and our reward for going 2-0 was to play Conway, Arkansas, the defending Class 6 state champions. So that was a quick 15-1 game, but really our kids, physically, it was eye-opening, but they competed. There was good body language and really a cool opportunity to play those guys. And then we followed it up playing 2 games on that next Monday. Had a good game with Parkview. They got us 3-2. Nevada got us 7-4. And then Marshfield on that Tuesday, we kind of weathered the elements there, and I think we beat them 10-3, something like that. But so we were 6 games in 5 days, and at one point I think we played more than anybody in the state. So had a good week last week. We really, haven't played a lot of teams our size. The teams we have, we've been fortunate to win. We beat New Covenant, beat Conway, and then had a really cool opportunity Friday at Hammondsfield to play Bolivar, and our number 1 threw a great game there. But I like our team. We've got 3 seniors. 2 of those guys played a lot the last 3 years. Really on paper, there's a couple seniors that chose not to play, and they would have helped us. They were multi-year starters, but it's one of those things, chemistry-wise, these guys have a lot of fun. I mean, Coach can attest to this. We got a group text that we really enjoy being around one another, whether it's baseball, trying to get guys a prom date, whatever it is. We're having a lot of fun, and those seniors that are not playing with us have given an opportunity for a sophomore and a freshman to get some really valuable reps. And so the youth, the opportunity for a big sophomore class, I believe we've got 8 guys. They're getting a lot of opportunities, and so they're a fun group to be around. This is a big week for us. Tomorrow we got obviously Parkview tonight. Tomorrow we've got Skyline, which is a district and conference opponent. Thursday night we got Forsyth, and I'm sure we're going to see the Hunter kid there. And then Friday, a cool opportunity. We're going to play Harrison, Arkansas, the defending Class 4 state champions in Arkansas. So thankfully they graduated about 8 guys, so they're not going to be quite as good. But really glad to be at Fair Grove. I do want to say, you guys that know Coach Overstreet, the transition was smooth. That he would send me box scores almost every night, give me updates, and having him as the principal, it's really awesome. And so I can't think of a better transition to a new school than what we've had here. And so very, very supported by him and our new AD Damon Seeger and the people in the community. So I'm glad to be an Eagle. So.
Brett Boo is here from Stratford, and his team is 6-2 and plays Clever today.
Thank you guys for having me. Obviously, this is my first year as head coach. I've been the assistant under Shane Pierce for the last 11. I've been at Stratford now for 12. Really enjoyed it when that job came open. It was kind of something that, I kind of always wanted to do, but I've got several different roles as an assistant principal and athletic director as well. So it's been kind of trying this year. I got a couple of assistant coaches that have done excellent for me, bringing them in to help me out. Currently, we are 6-2. I'm not exactly sure how. When we've talked to the kids, there's an old saying in baseball or in coaching that it's not winning and losing, it's learning and winning. And we do a lot of learning in games and then somehow end up coming out, with the W. So try to explain that to the kids. We've got a very, very young team. We've got 2 returning starters. There are 2 leading hitters this year as seniors. Dakota Ames, who's been a mainstay for us at shortstop. He's done an excellent job. And then Isaac Berg, our first baseman. Isaac Berg, you know, it's kind of funny because he's a senior that has never pitched, and we put him in a game the other day that was, you know, we were at Cassville and we were kind of struggling, and we had some other games going on. And we're like, let's throw Isaac. We threw him in there, and he competed for not having ever been in that position. So 2 excellent kids that have been great leaders for us so far this season. We have started 4 freshmen in some different spots. We've started about 3 sophomores, and we also got 2 juniors that are also learning how to compete at the varsity level for us. We started off at Bolivar was down 7-0 early in that game, and then somehow found a way to come back and compete. And it was kind of one of those games. If you were to ask Bolivar, also, it was kind of we gave it to them early, and then they gave it to us late. So we're very fortunate for that. And we went down and played the Neosho tournament, and our side of our pool was Carthage, Aurora, and Purdy, who's a very good Class 2 school. And we ended up coming out of that 3-0 and had to play Neosho at Neosho and lost a 9-inning game there. So to, I believe, their top 2 pitchers. So that was one of those, to be honest with you. We had beat them last year in 12 innings at third place in that championship game. And then this year in 9 innings, it was kind of like, I'm not sure we're going to score. We just got to try to do our best way to make sure they don't score. So, and then after that, we had 2 road trips. We went to Neosho on Saturday, which is about an hour-and-a-half trip. And then we went to El Dorado Springs and Cassville on Monday and Tuesday, which are hour-and-a-half trips. And everybody's like, gosh, you need to talk to your AD. I'm like, yeah, that's not smart scheduling. As far as trip-wise, we're getting kids out of school. They love it. They're getting out of school at about 12:30, but you know, spring's such a mess, and to get those kids out, it's kind of tough. But we took care of business in both those games, and then turned around and played our first conference game versus Skyline, which you know, I'm sure Coach Reed can attest to. In our conference, we've got some really good starting pitchers, and Skyline threw their ace against us, and he was excellent against us. You got to kind of tip your hat to that kid. He had several strikeouts. He could go fastball, curveball, whatever count he wanted to. Really kept us off balance. We only got 1 hit in that game. It was kind of our home opener. We had several people there, and I think we were kind of amped up a little bit for that. It did take him long to put us in our place. And you know, I was really proud of actually their pitcher. Their pitcher is a kid whose father had passed away about a week and a half earlier. And it was, to be honest with you, I hate losing anytime we lose, but it was kind of a neat moment to see that kid go out there and just really, really excel. And side note, it was just really proud moment for him. So, you know, we've got, like I said, we've got some freshmen. I started freshman in center field, who is an excellent athlete. He's actually come in. We've got 6 wins. He's kind of come in and pitched some relief, and he's been pretty fortunate. He's got 3 wins and 2 saves, which is kind of unbelievable as a freshman, you know. But he's one of those kids that early on in the year in Bolivar, and this is what we have done with some of these young kids. It's kind of like, you know, we don't know where they're at. We don't know where anybody's at. And it's just like, you know, the first game of the year, our pitching coach looks at me and he's like, hey, what do you think? What do you think about going him? I'm like, what do we have to lose? You know, we got to figure it out here real quick. And he is the type of kid that has come in and competed and has really excelled in that situation. And he looks like he's ready for the situation, which is kind of neat. So great group of kids. You know, Stratford has got the absolute best kids. I would tell anybody that. So it has made it fun. The transition has been good because I have been there for so long, but also in saying that, you know, I'm trying to do my own thing. I don't play the schedule quite that Coach Reed has got. In fact, I had to, whenever I found out how good Coach Lettle was going to be at Rogersville, I had to call him and say, hey, we don't probably need to play this next year. So, but you know, we're just trying to figure things out, and I'm excited for the year, and I'm excited for the future with these kids. So, thank you guys for having me.
Things are looking good at Rogersville right now. 7-1 and a bright new turf field to play on.
Yeah, I see Coach Merriman and Coach Nasby in here. I've seen them a lot this spring. So, yeah, I guess our whole story this year starts with our field. We didn't have one until Friday. So we were traveling salesmen. How many times did you see us pull up with a trailer outside of your ballpark? I see both those 2 gentlemen, and we just tried to get time for about the first 3 weeks. Whenever they weren't playing, we might be at 9 o'clock in the morning. I think there were a couple times we came in at 8 a.m. We came in at 6:30 and 7 o'clock. So it's been kind of nuts with our field situation, but it is new. We opened Friday and it's gorgeous. It's kind of like Christmas morning. I go down there every day and wonder what they got done that day because today the scoreboard's going up, but they have one all weekend. So it's kind of weird, but it's we don't have batting cages, so we had everybody hit the softball cages and then come to our field. But we had a really, really good start. Like I said, the field situation, we had several, obviously, basketball kids that came in, and we got them back on spring break and went, all right, those are 4 or 5 of our best players. They come back on spring break, and I think it's 22 degrees outside most of that week when we get to practice. So we had days where we didn't pick up a baseball. We just took reps and dropped it in the bucket. So it's been kind of trying to protect those kids and get them worked back in. But yeah, we're 7-1. We've got several good wins over some what we think are some good teams. Beat Branson, beat Republic. Both those games it got flip-flopped. We ended up having Rogersville, and I think Republic's first ever triple header where we played the freshmen, then the JV, then the varsity. So I think we got home about midnight that last night. But again, the kids loved it because that was the one morning that they got to be late to school. Even the principal let them for a little while. So but had some good wins there. And then we played Blair Oaks at US Ballpark a couple Saturdays ago. Beat them 3-0. And then we turned around and got some wins. We went down to Ava, played Hillcrest, and then this weekend we got opposite the red and blue. We've got a kind of a Hill or an LR Hollister Branson festival that goes on. It kind of set up to simulate the red and blue a little bit. So we played William Crispin. We got knocked around by Smithfield. They had a very, very good young man that was on the mound, so that's our first loss. We probably needed that a little bit to kind of get Zach back in. But most of you know I've got 3 outstanding young men. All 3 of them will be playing at MSU here either in the next year or the next 2 years. So they've been outstanding. Corey Sutherland, Ross Lawrence, and Brody McNeil, who's a transfer from Hartville, moved in. They're our 3 best pitchers. They're probably our 3 best infielders and outfielders. They hit top 3 in the lineup. So you guys probably can do the math there and see kind of how important they are. But we've got, let's see, I think we've got 21 upperclassmen. So in 8 games, I haven't filled out the lineup card once right yet. Just ask, depending on which parent you ask. But no, it's been outstanding. I mean, it's been fantastic because those 3 kids, as much publicity as they've gotten, everybody knows who they are. They've handled that with a lot of humbleness. All 3 of them are very humble young men. And they kind of take that in stride. They're all also our 3 hardest workers, without a doubt. Those kids were throwing all during basketball season. They were hitting all during basketball season. Away from us, that was one of those things we'd never really do anything, but they were trying to keep up with baseball. They knew what a special year this could be for us and how important it was. But we got a huge senior class, and I think all of them play at some point. So we've got a lot of doctoring where we move kids around this year. So far, we've been pretty successful with that. But I think we've got 38 kids out for baseball at Rogersville this year, freshmen through seniors, which is by far, in my 10 years, they're the most we've ever had, and by far and away the biggest collection of talent in the room that we've ever had. We've got some good freshmen that are coming. Sophomore class a little light, but they're pretty talented, 4 or 5 kids that we have. But the future's bright in that avenue, and we're excited obviously for this year, but for the future and for those of you who haven't seen our field yet, it's pretty incredible. Like I said, they're putting in a scoreboard today. They're putting in helmet racks tomorrow. I never know. We have something new every day. All those garage doors wouldn't work today, so our equipment's locked inside. I probably called Brock or Bryce how many times in the last 3 weeks for, hey, we didn't have bases. It was very important. Sorry to make call you later. So yeah, we're keeping playing against sports as much in the black as we can. So, but it's been an outstanding year. We're looking forward to it. We got a big game with Nixon tomorrow night. So Coach Hughes over there, he'll have them ready to go, and that's been a good one the last couple of years. So excited for that. And guys, thanks again for having us. We really appreciate it. Thank you.
On the college side, we'll start with Coach Snodgrass, who has an update from Evangel.
I'm glad to hear they're getting some benefit from see this whole thing come back around for you. Tyler texted me he's in a important meeting about scholarship structure. I'm not sure that. They played Park and went 1-3 over the weekend. He says in 12 games versus 3 divisional opponents, we've lost 8 of those 12. by a combined 15 runs. Not winning the close games like we could, but consistently competing well, which last week he talked about. He's trying to really improve that aspect of their group. Team ERA on the season currently ranks second best nationally in the NAIA. Pitching coach Kyle Smith is a Willard grad, has done a tremendous job working with and developing our pitching staff. We host Central Methodist this weekend. Excited for the challenge and opportunity to compete. So that's the answer.
All right. BBC has got the prize for most games played. They played 33 games already, and they will be at US Baseball Park this week.
Yeah, actually, I think probably the last 2 games we're in 35 games.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, we're year 2 of the program, 2015. Big turnaround, so we're excited about that. This past week, we were at Kansas Christian, and it's a unique experience playing Kansas Christian. They play at the Royals Urban Youth Academy, downtown Kansas City. Their roster is very diversified, with a lot of good athletes. They were representative in the NCCAA World Series last year. Them and C of O were picked 1 and 2 in our conference for this year. We knew it would be a tough test. Game 1, we beat them 10-4. They threw a left-handed guy that was tough. And we started 7 left-handed hitters, but we found a way to grind out a win there. Game 2 of that series, we started one of our better guys, Josh Buxton, and he was bad. The conditions were tough. It was super windy, as everybody was playing this last weekend knows, and he couldn't throw strikes, and it got away from us, and we lost 16-6. Game 3, which was on Saturday for us, we faced the reigning conference pitcher of the year, a kid from the Dominican Republic named Leonardo Mendez. He's 87-90, 3-pitch mix. It's like the World Baseball Classic, lots of pumping and kicking and yelling and screaming and dancing and twirling, and he's really good, and we lost 4-2. And game 4, they had a transfer from Bogota, Colombia, named Juan Polo. He was 93-96, and as good as we had heard. And we had really competitive at bats. We fell off a lot of pitches, and he was at 115 pitches through 5 1/3. Got to their bullpen, ended up beating them out of their bullpen. But it was good for us to go on the road and split. A team that had handled us easily last year, so just another sign of improvement for our program. We have a lot of home games this week. We play Wednesday afternoon against a new NAIA team, St. Louis Health Science and Pharmacy. I think they played Scott's JV team earlier. They're coming in for 1 9-inning game, and then we're back in conference play Thursday, Friday with the Christian school conference we're in. Everybody's kind of slid up, and nobody's playing on Saturday or Sunday this week because of Easter. And we play Randall University out in Moore, Oklahoma this week. Thank you, guys.
All right. And a Drury team that already has 20 wins this year, including some big ones this past weekend.
Yeah. We are 20-12. We won 11 of the last 13, so we've been playing well the last 3 weeks. We've been pitching phenomenal. And normally when you pitch great, you're throwing the same guys and not getting too deep in the pen, which means normally on Mondays I've got kids wanting to meet with me to figure out what they can do to pitch, and that's until you remain out to go complete game and we can go to the bullpen. But we've only thrown 12 innings of relief in the last 3 weekends, in the last 12 games. So we've got 4 complete games. We've had 3 of those being shutouts. And we've won 11 and 13, so there's really no room for anyone besides our closer, our setup guy, and McKinnis from Kickapoo, Mizzou transfer is throwing well. Wes Laker from Alton, Illinois has been good for us, who's a sophomore. Mason Majors is a Richmond transfer from Staley High School that's closed and hasn't given up a run since his first outing of the year in the last 10 outings. And then Tyler Bastunas is coming in from second base to close games if we need him. Mason can't finish up the game, so he's been big for us as well. So, but we played SBU this past weekend, and if you played on Friday, it was some wild winds. Probably for everyone else, it was blowing in, but at US, it was going straight up, out. And so that was a fun day to hit. It was hard to land breaking balls when it's that windy. You know, guys aren't landing anything really but fastball. So both guys had a tough time throwing breaking balls for strikes. Wes Collins, who's a redshirt COVID sophomore, he's been with us 4 years. This is his second year of eligibility. He went 3 for 3 with 2 walks, 3 doubles, 7 RBIs. And then on Saturday, he did the same thing. He went 3 for 3 with the walk. So he started the weekend reaching base, I think, in his first 10 or 11 at bats. He only got out, I think, twice this weekend and reached over 10 times. So that was pretty fun. But Cody Ball pitched well enough to get the win. We won the first game 14-4, short game that we played mandatory. Remember, only 9 inning games. We played doubleheader 7 against SBU on Saturday. Mason Meeks won a complete game, shutout, and we played well there. Cooper Monroe, who's been struggling for us, our big, tall first baseman, who plays phenomenal defense at first base and picks everything. And I think it's kind of changed the game for us being at first base because you can throw it anywhere you want from third and short. It's a pretty big target over there. He's been struggling offensively, but he had 2 home runs, 2 3-run home runs, which was huge for us. And we won that game 11-1 or 11-0. Came on to the next one, and they battled us fairly tight. It was a 4-1 ball game. They got it to 4-3, and then Brooks Sonny worked a 9-pitch at bat and a 3-run home run in the bottom of the 6th to give us a little cushion. Won that one 4-3. And then Sunday showed up, and the wind had flipped. So blowing straight in like it normally does at US Ballpark when it's starting to get warm, which makes it pretty tough to hit, especially when you've shown up for 3 days and guys are just doing home run derby to get beat because everything's leaving. And so we hit some balls hard, but it didn't result in much. Thankfully, we were able to get some freebies. We were walked 5 times, we were hit 3 times, they made 2 errors. We ended up winning that one 4-3 to complete the sweep. So we won 11-13, which is great. I hear you guys talk about how many games you guys play, and I can't. Sometimes I think we play in time. We play Pitt State tomorrow. We played 4 this weekend against Indy. And I don't want to get too deep into the pitching staffs, but you guys are going 5 and 6 a week with a high school staff, making things pretty interesting, maybe a little bit longer in the 5th, 6th, and 7th inning. So your guys may be longer than ours at some point in terms of times of games. But we play Pitt State Law Enforcement Academy and Appreciation Night tomorrow. So anyone who has a law enforcement ID, retired or present, can get in for free 5 p.m. against Pitt State. Them and their families have people out to throw first pitches as well. One of our alums, Cole Faulkner, is a U.S. Marshal here in town. He's going to be on the field. He'll suit up and throw first pitch for us as well. And then we hit the road Wednesday to play Thursday, Friday, Saturday at Indy, which would be a good test. They started the season 12-0. In conference, they've taken a little bit of a skid, but be a good test for a team that we faced off in the conference tournament and split from last year in the conference tournament. So have been out to see quite a few high school games and see some great matchups. We got a ton of talent in town. I saw the Willard Republic walk-off win for Republic, which was a fun comeback game. When saw Catholic and Nixon play, which was really talented teams. So we've been able to see quite a few high school teams out there with a lot of talent. So hopefully we get to see you guys play. We'll be out sometime soon. Thanks for having me.
Got any update on the Meta project?
Still as secret as it's supposed to be. Our president is no longer our president. We have a new president on Monterey campus, so that may change. In terms of whether we can go public with information, we're still about 850,000 raised.
That's better than 2 weeks ago.
Yeah, should be. We have a naming rights ask that's out there that I hope we find out this weekend. If it's a yes, we can go public. We have all the money for full turf, new outfield fence, revamp dugouts, which would be fantastic. If not, we got to figure it out.
Okay.
So yeah.
Missouri State comes off of a series win at Illinois State. Coach Joey Hawkins is here.
Hey guys, thanks for having me out. You guys got back last night from Illinois State, much needed series win for us. We were scuffling a little bit, trying to find our identity. We played well at times this year. We've gotten really good starting pitching most of the year. I think like a lot of college teams, we're trying to figure out our bullpen a little bit. We're at the point of the year where you're looking for some guys to step up and kind of grab some roles. But went into Illinois State on a little bit of a losing skid, and when the game knows you're on a skid, it continues to challenge us. So we had to face the best pitcher in the league statistically on Friday night at Illinois State, which was going to be a good challenge. I think he was a fifth-year senior, had an ERA under 2. We had a great game plan. the wind was blowing in that day, right? Yeah, the wind was howling in at Illinois State, which didn't make me feel good as a hitting coach. But somehow we found a way to put up some runs on him, got him out of the game early. I think we ended up hitting 3 home runs still that day. Our bullpen was really good. Got the win. Came out the next day. Wind flipped for us because we finally got a win and got off the skid. So the baseball guys wanted to reward us a little bit. We hit the ball around the yard. I think we scored 12 that day. Our starter, who had to pitch in those conditions, Hayden Minton, did a great job gutting it through 5, which was nice. So got the series win through Saturday and came out yesterday. Wind again was crazy, going right across the field. Their starter was an Oregon State transfer. He pitched the minimum through maybe 8, I think. 8, yeah. It was 0-0, and then we pinch hit Cam Craddock, who's a 5th-year senior for us, and has a groin injury, so can't run. And we just took a shot at it, and he slipped one out to left somehow, which was pretty crazy. But we ended up blowing the lead, losing it in extras, which was a tough one. But I think anytime in our league you can go on the road and get a series win, it's nice. But coming up, we got some really exciting baseball. Obviously, the Springfield Cardinals are back in town. We're doubling up with them against Bradley this weekend, so get a lot of baseball at Hammons Field, which will be nice. Some really good midweeks coming up too with Mizzou and Arkansas coming into town this month, so that'll be competitive. I'm looking forward to what the team does the rest of the year. For you local coaches, Zach Stewart's been pretty impressive. It's sometimes hard for me to believe that guy played high school baseball last year.
Was it fun?
Yeah. I don't know. It honestly scares me sometimes. Like, he's hitting 324 with 12 doubles and a triple and 6 homers. But for me, what's most impressive is just the adjustments that kid makes at this level. It's pretty impressive. He scuffled a little bit and, went through some adjustments in the cage and was right back out. And, last week he hit a ball 112 miles an hour. And if you're watching the Cardinals this weekend, that would have been the hardest ball hit all weekend. So it's some pretty elite stuff that kid's got. I encourage you to come out and watch him because, he's a draft eligible sophomore next year, so he's not going to be with us for long. But, I think for us, I came from the Cardinals organization, got to work with Jose Oquendo, and he would always say, in a long season, you got to be okay for part of it. You're going to be bad for part of it. And then if you want to be a playoff team, you got to be really good at one stretch of it. And so for us, I think we've been okay at the start. We hit a little bit of a bad stretch there, and hopefully this last series win gets us going and we can play some good baseball down the stretch and have some guys step it up. So appreciate you guys coming out. We're on the road tomorrow at Kansas, which will be a good test for us, a little bit of a rivalry for our group. So hopefully the guys get up for that, and you'll see us and our staff out at a lot of high school games. Probably watch the Junior Bears here soon at Rodneyville, which is good for us. But a lot of local talent coming in, which is exciting for me as the recruiting coordinator. Love trying to get guys in the area here first, and then kind of branch out and build our roster. So thanks again for having me, and we'll see you guys out on the field soon.
Joey, did you have to dodge any tornadoes up there?
We had a tornado warning, but we were in the hotel after our game Friday, but I think it was a little north of us.
Yeah.
So we made it out okay, but it was some crazy weather up there. And that was some wind I'd never really played in, and there was a few drop fly balls, but we were on the good side of that a few times.
Okay.
Coaches, I want to thank you again for coming and being part of this, and thanks to Pizza Ranch for helping us with y'all's meals and Played Again Sports for their continued support. And same next week, same bat time, same bat channel. Everybody's welcome back, and there's still plenty of food out there. So get you some food and hang around. Thank you.
See ya. Take care. All right.